Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're joined in the interview room by the 2014 Champion Golfer of the Year and a native son to Northern Ireland, Rory McIlroy. Rory, I think for all of us involved this week, the media, ourselves as staff and officials, this is going to be a very special week. But I think for you and the Northern Irish players, this is going to be something else. Can you talk us through the emotions and what you'll be feeling when you tee it up here tomorrow?
Yeah, I think, my history maybe isn't quite as long here in, at Portrush than say Darren or GMAC. But my first memories of Portrush are coming up here to watch my dad play in the north of Ireland. So that's, I remember chipping around the chipping green being, 7 or 8 years of age. My dad out playing on the Dunluce, and they were sort of my summers, and then all of a sudden I got to the stage where I was playing north of Ireland, and coming up here. My dad brought me to Portrush for my 10th birthday to play, which was my birthday present. I actually met Darren Clarke that day for the first time, which was really cool. So Portrush has been a very big, at least the golf club has been a big part of my upbringing, and it's sort of surreal that it's here. Even driving in yesterday, and you're coming in on the road and you look to the right and you've got the second tee, and I think I don't know who was teeing off. It might have been like Tony Finau and someone else. So I'm sort of strange to see them here, but it's really cool. It just sort of shows what we've done in terms of players. GMAC winning the US Open, Darren winning the Open, and then some of the success that I've had, and how Northern Ireland has come on as a country that we're able to host such a big event here again. So delighted that it's back here, delighted to be a part of it, and at this stage just excited to tee it up and get going tomorrow.
Great stuff. Okay, well, we'll take our first question from the right hand side, please.
Rory, what sporting events did you go to in the area growing up? What were big sporting events in this area for you to attend, and how does this blow all those others away?
Yeah, I mean, just your normal Northern Ireland football matches, Ulster rugby games. I guess that was sort of obviously up here. They've got the motorcycle racing, Northwest 200, which is pretty big every year. But yeah, that was, if you really wanted to get a sense of what a huge sporting occasion was, you maybe had to go down to Dublin for an Irish rugby game, or go across the water to see Man United play or something like that. But in terms of a huge sporting event, I don't think there's been one quite this big here for a long time.
Okay, next question from the front left here, please, number one.
Hey, Rory. U.S. players, as you know, are on the verge of a sweep of the four majors for the first time since the early 1980s. With the ballyhooed return here to Royal Portrush, how important is it for you to defend the home turf and prevent this from happening?
That's not why I'm here this week. It does. And look, these things are very cyclical. You look at the European success in the majors, sort of 2010, 2011. These things happen in cycles. I don't think there's any rhyme or reason to it. United States have got a lot of great golfers, and you look at what Brooks has done. You look at Tiger, coming back. It's just sort of these things go in stages and they go in cycles. And as I said, I'm not here to defend anything or try to. I'm here to try and win a golf tournament.
Yeah. Next question in the middle here, Jimmy.
Thanks, Mike. Rory, you've spoken in the past about how at Irish Opens, for example, you've sometimes struggled with the pressure on your shoulders. Is there anything you can do this week to maybe draw on the positive energy instead, or is it speaking to sports psychologists? Does Harry have a role to play?
I think as well, I think it's probably easier this week because it's such a big tournament. There's so many, you've got the best players in the world here, and I don't feel like I'm the center of attention. I think that is coming back here for the first time in 68 years. It's, some of the other players that are here. I really don't, look, I'm from Northern Ireland and I'm playing at home, but I don't see myself as the center of attention, I guess, and that's why I don't. I'm here to enjoy myself. Hopefully it doesn't take another 68 years for the tournament to come back here. So, but at the same time, I mightn't get an opportunity to play an Open Championship here again. You never know what happens. So I'm really just treating it as a wonderful experience and one that I really want to enjoy. I'm going to love being out there and having the crowds and having the support. And, if that can't help you, then, nothing can.
Okay, next question at the front, please.
Rory, our friends at CBS did some number crunching on strokes gained, and this season you're number 1, and it's the 4th best since strokes gained began. How much confidence does that give you for this week, and is that where you feel your game is? Yeah,
I do. I think it's the probably the most consistent period of golf I've ever played. And yeah, you look at my, I'm a big, I use strokes gained numbers a lot in terms of, what am I doing well in, what needs improvement, what am I going to go practice this week to get ready for next week, or, whatever it may be. So the strokes gained numbers this year, and I've had a goal, if you're consistently around 2.5 strokes gained, I mean, that's a really nice place to live. You're going to have a nice life if you're 2.5 strokes gained every time. So, I'm sort of pushing up towards the 3 mark at this point this year. And I know if I keep doing that, then the wins will come and, everything else sort of just falls into place.
Just a wee follow-up, what was with the washing machine on the top yesterday?
Just Nike sort of doing what they do, and they've sort of came out with this Nike polo, and they've got some logos. Tiger sort of wore the Tiger head cover, and they wanted to do something a little special for me this week. So I thought washing machine was pretty. That's I grew up here, long winter nights hitting golf balls into my mum's washing machine. So it was a nice little touch.
Next question on the right, Neil.
Just on the crowd again, you've always performed well home Ryder Cups with the supporters. Do you think it's something similar? You can channel that energy in your game over the 4 days?
No, I don't think this is anything like a Ryder Cup. You're playing for yourself. You're playing, it's not the same. I wouldn't want to turn this into a Ryder Cups, mindset, because I think that's hard to sustain for 4 days. Again, I'm just treating this like any other Open Championship. I've played well here the last few years. I've played well on this golf course, so I just got to go out and hit the shots and stay in the present. And if I just keep putting one foot in front of the other, hopefully by Sunday night that'll be good enough.
Doug, back right, please.
Rory, how many rounds have you played here in recent months getting ready for this Open, and how does that compare with the way you've prepared for previous Opens?
So I came here to do I played the week after the Ryder Cup, just for a commercial sort of thing. I played last Saturday, and then I played yesterday. So is that 3 times in the last year? And that's sort of similar to what I would usually do at any other Open Championship. Yeah, I feel like you can, for me sometimes, you play a golf course so much you start looking at the places where you don't want to hit it. So I'd rather just, I've played well here before. I know what I'm doing around here. I mean, I sort of was worried. I got here last Saturday thinking, the course is going to change. The setup for an Open might be different. And I got here and it's like still the same place. I mean, I said this last week. I had dinner booked with I hadn't seen my mum in 3 months. I had dinner booked with my parents on Saturday night at 8 o'clock, thinking, I'm going to have to spend some time around the greens and just prepare. And I got on the road back home and rang them and said, can we move dinner up, because I finished early. It's just sort of, there's no difference. It's the same golf course. So I was sort of, I think I was making it a little bit bigger in my head than it needed to be. And, I've played this place enough times to know where to miss it, where not to miss it, where the good leaves are. And, no matter if there's grandstands around or if there's not, or if there's a lot of people or if they're not, it's the same golf course.
Okay, next question, number 2, right at the back there, please.
At the Masters, you talked about taking up meditation, and I was just wondering if that's something, if you're still doing, and if you're going to do it this week, either before or after rounds.
Yeah, I still do it from time to time. I sort of do a guided meditation every night before I go to bed. It's something that helps me sleep better, something I've tried to incorporate into my daily routine. But there's a lot of, I find hitting golf balls meditative. I think that, to me, is a nice way to unwind and clear the head a little bit. So there's many different ways of doing it. I think people hear the term meditation and they think sort of spiritual, yoga, hippie sort of stuff. And it's not quite like that.
Okay, Bob at the front, please.
Rory, you touched on this a little bit, but are there any nuances of the course where your experience helps you a good bit? And also, how much do you think the rain or steady rain impacts how it will play?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think there's a lot of approach shots here that are visually a little more intimidating than they play. Thomas Bjorn walked a few holes with me yesterday, and I sort of hit like a nice little draw over the right-hand bunker on 3. And it looks like it's going to miss the green by a mile, and then he gets up there and the ball's in the middle of the green. And he goes, well, I wouldn't have thought that's where. But just those little things and knowing where lines are, and yeah, I'm maybe a little more comfortable doing that stuff around here than some of the other open venues. But and then with the rain, I think when this course gets crosswinds, so today it's out of the south. I think the rest of the week it's sort of southwest, and that there's a lot of crosswinds in that sort of wind direction, and that's what's going to make it tough because you're already hitting across a lot of fairways. They're like sort of slight dog legs, and so that'll make it tough. And I think the big key this week is just to keep it out of the fairway bunkers and keep it out of the rough. I mean, even if you're giving yourself a little longer second shots in, you're able to play this golf course from the fairway. And with the way the rough has grown over the past couple of weeks, you're not going to be able to score, hitting it offline.
Okay, I'll go over to the front left. The next question there, please. Number 1.
Rory, you've already touched on your experience around this golf course and how much you'll draw on it this week. You've played plenty of North of Ireland's here, as has your caddy, Harry, obviously. What sort of benefit is that going to be to you going forward? And in terms of the course record that you shot here, what sort of course record represents a good number this week on the changed course?
I think that's one of the things people don't realize. Harry's probably played more rounds of golf on this golf course than I have, and definitely more competitive rounds. He reached he reached the final of the North a few years ago, and so he's got a lot of, he's just as comfortable on this golf course as I am. So that is a big help this week, and this golf course has changed so much since 2005 when I shot the 61. It's a different par, different holes. There's a lot of holes that have been lengthened. There's been a par 5 turned into a par 4. I think this week, conditions like this, then you're looking at 67, 68's a good score. Conditions like I played it last night, then you could probably potentially see someone shoot at 63, 64, 65.
Okay, and number 4 in the middle here, back right. Yeah.
I was surprisingly made that you said you're willing to play in the Olympics. What made you change your mind, and what does playing in the Olympics mean to you?
Yeah, so I think personally I needed to do a lot of inner thought and sort of, is this important to me? Why do I want to play it? Who do I want to represent? All that sort of stuff. And I guess I was, at the start, whenever I was thinking of playing the Olympics, I think I let other people's opinions of me weigh into that, weigh in on that decision. And at the end of the day, it's my decision. I can't please everyone. The only people that really care about who I play for, who I represent, don't mean anything to me. I don't care about them. So at the end of the day, I think with where golf is, with it being part of the Olympic movement, I think if I had to look back on my career, not played in one, I probably would have regretted it. So, that was part of the reason I wanted to go, and for the experience as well. I mean, it's a wonderful experience. I've never done anything like that before. And it's in Japan, so it'll be I enjoy Japan, I enjoy the people, enjoy the food, so it'll be a nice week.
Jeff, on the right, please.
Rory, with your knowledge and experience here, do you have a strict game plan about tee shots here, depending on when, or do you have a little bit of flexibility on that? And if you do you allow Harry this week to have a little more influence on questioning a decision out there?
Yeah, definitely. I think flexibility is a good word, because, as you know, in links golf, different wind conditions and different wind directions can completely change what you do and how holes play. For example, the second hole here, you've got those collection of the 3 bunkers around 280, 290 off the tee, but then you've got a bunker on the left-hand side that's 310. And the only way I'd ever hit driver there is if I know if I can carry that bunker on the left. For the most part, I'll lay it up. I think one of the great things about this golf course is, and I sort of realized this last Saturday when I came to play, off the tee, it makes you challenge at least one bunker. It's not, if you try to take all the bunkers out of play, it's going to be very difficult. You're leaving yourself a lot of long shots. So it's like I think a lot of tee shots here, you challenge one bunker, but you sort of stay short of the next. You sort of have a little area to hit it into. So it still makes you play, you still have to concentrate on the tee shot. So, but yeah, there is flexibility. There's some holes that, in certain winds I can hit driver, and certain winds I'll just hit an iron and play it that way. So, and with Harry's experience around here, and he's probably played this place more times than I have. Yeah, not that I don't let him have any say any other weeks, but I think just with his experience around here, I'll, my ear will be a little sharper to what he has to say.
Okay, we're going to finish with the questions we have left, so keep them brief, please. Ewan, at the back.
Hi, Rory, can you talk a bit about your interaction with the locals this week, be it on the golf course or elsewhere? Have you heard anything that's brought a smile to your face?
I've sort of tried to keep it low-key. I went for dinner last night, and people are just coming up and saying good luck and have a great week, and I mean it's very nice. I mean, if I'm honest, it hasn't felt any different than any other Open Championship. I feel like I get great support wherever, no matter where I go. I'm sure it will feel different tomorrow on that first tee, and the buzz and everything. But up to this point, the build-up, it really hasn't been much different. So, which has been a nice thing. It's comforting in that way that it hasn't felt any different.
Mike, front left, please.
Hi, Rory. Legacy is a word that's bandied around by guys like me a lot. I just wonder what you think and hope the legacy of the Open Championship being here in Portrush might be medium and long term, and how might that be ramped up if you were to lift the claret jug here on Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's in golfing terms, I think, its legacy, could be, young boys and girls, are keen to pick a golf club up and play, and not that, I feel a lot of people I know and their kids, and they all play golf. I feel like golf is a very accessible sport here, which is I'm very fortunate that I grew up here because it was so accessible, and you didn't have to come from money or anything to play the game. So I think, no matter what happens this week, and if I win or whoever else wins, having the Open back in this country is a massive thing for golf, and I think as well it'll be a massive thing for the country. If it's sport has a unbelievable ability to bring people together, and we all know that this country sometimes needs that, and this has the ability to do that. And talking of legacy, that could be the biggest impact this tournament has outside of sport, outside of everything else, is the fact that people are coming here to enjoy it and have a good time, and sort of forget everything else that sort of goes on.
Okay, briefly, number 2 at the front.
Yeah, Rory, you almost touched on it a little bit there, but and at the start, but this sort of thing would never, this sort of event would never have happened in Northern Ireland when you were a very young kid. And what do you think it means to the people in Northern Ireland in a broader context that it can be here after the years of troubles, etc.?
I think it just means people have moved on. It's a different time. It's a very prosperous place. I'm very fortunate that I grew up in just outside Belfast, and I never seen anything. I was oblivious to it. I remember I watched a movie a couple of years ago, and it was just basically called 71, and it's about a British soldier that gets stationed at the Palace Barracks in Hollywood, which is literally 500 yards from where I grew up. And it basically follows him on a night of the Troubles and all that. And I remember asking my mum and dad, like, is this actually what happened? And it's amazing to think that 40 years on, it's such a great place. No one cares who they are, where they're from, what background they're from, but you can have a great life, and it doesn't matter what side of the street you come from. And I think that's what I was talking about legacy of this tournament. To be able to have this tournament here again I think it speaks volumes of where the country is and where the people that live here are now. We're so far past that, and that's a wonderful thing.
And final question, please.
Rory, in this press conference, there's been so much talk about the location and the locals and the legacy and everything like that. Is there a danger that once you get out there, this just becomes this great celebration of Irish golf and of yourself and of everything that's happened, and it begins to feel less like the sort of cold sort of hearted major that it needs to be for you?
I don't, that can go one of two ways, right? I've always felt that I've played my best golf when I've been totally relaxed and loose, and maybe that environment is what I need. I'm not saying that that's the way I'm going to approach it. I'm still going to go out and try to shoot good scores and concentrate and do all the right things. But, at the same time, I can't just put the blinkers on and pretend that that's not all going on. I still have to, one of my sort of mantras this week is look around and smell the roses. This is a wonderful thing for this country and golf in general, and to be, quite a big part of it is an honor and a privilege. And, I want to keep reminding myself of that, this is bigger than me, right? This is bigger than me. And I think if you can look at the bigger picture and you can see that, it sort of takes a little bit of the pressure off. So, I still want to play well and concentrate and do all the right things, but at the same time, just having that perspective, might just make me relax a little bit more.
Well, Rory, on that note, best of luck this week. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.